Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Karina and today I'll be sharing my spooky challenge TBR. Or if you don't know what I'm talking about, I am referring to the challenge that Cassidy put together to help readers kind of curate their TBR by fulfilling different prompts. This does take place over the course of a few months, starting in September all the way through November. So it does give us plenty of time to read these spooky books and just enjoy the fall/spooky season. This challenge does feature 3 different sections, and how Cassidy put it together is there's no doubling up, but for each book that you select in the first section will go hand in hand with a prompt from section 2. You kind of have to be strategic for the selections that you have. You'll kind of see as we go along how that works. Let's go ahead and get into my TBR, and I will be doing my best to share a few recommendations with you as well. The very first prompt for section 1 is urban. For this one, I did choose Mary by Nat Cassidy, and this is my very first book by him, and I believe it is his horror debut as well, so I'm very excited to be jumping in. I know that this follows our main character Mary as she gets fired from her job in New York and is kind of forced to move back to her hometown, and while she's there, she kind of has very dark thoughts kind of percolating in her brain. Come to find out, these are actions and behaviors that reflect a serial killer. So once the killings of said serial killer start happening, Mary has a rude awakening, it seems, coming her way. So the prompt I paired up with the urban setting for Mary is new author, because I have yet to read a Nat Cassidy, so this will be very exciting and hopefully it goes well. So a few recommendations I have for the urban setting would be Listen for the Lie. That is a thriller that I really enjoyed on audiobook, and that definitely has a urban or city setting. I would also recommend A First Lie Wins, another one I quite enjoyed this year, and another really good audio. So the next prompt is for a summer camp, and for this I selected The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. The cool thing is that this is the Literally Dead book club pick for September, so if you also had your eye on it and wanted to participate, there we go. That kind of, knocks a few things off the list, which is amazing. I know that this story follows the disappearance of the camp owner's daughter. Now, the strange thing about that is this isn't the first child of theirs that has disappeared. Years ago, their son had disappeared and never to be found again. So we are kind of on the hunt to find their daughter Barbara, and I believe some drama unfolds, secrets come to light, and the town is shaken by the subsequent events of the disappearance. Thankfully, my hold for the audiobook should be coming in any day, so very, very excited for it. Prompt I selected from section 2 to pair up with The God of the Woods is new release, because this one just came out in July. I do have a few recommendations for summer camp. The first being The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. That was a really good book and kind of keeps you on your toes. The next one, I know it takes place at a summer camp, I just haven't read it myself, but I have heard such great things, and that book is You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight by Kaylin Barron. The next setting prompt is Isolated, and for this I selected a book off of Kindle Unlimited. There's not even 50 reviews up of this book, so I feel like not a lot of people know about it. This could be really good or really bad. We'll see how this one goes. So the book I selected for the isolated setting is called Sleeper Train, and this is by Jay Bauer and John Lynch. So Sleeper Train really follows a cast of characters that are secluded on a train, and murders start happening, people start going out one by one, and they're basically on the hunt to find which passenger is doing all the dirty deeds. I feel like this is going to be a fun, bloody time. The prompt that I'm going to be pairing up Sleeper Train with is novella, because it is only 167 pages, and that definitely fits the prompt. So a few recommendations I can give you for the isolated setting is No Exit by Taylor Adams. I know that one's a popular one, very much a isolated setting. And another one I have is Dead of Winter by Darcy Coates. That was my first Darcy Coates and it was such a good time, very gory. So definitely check the trigger warnings on it, but I really enjoyed it. Setting is a book set in a small town. And for this prompt, I selected The Drowning Kind by Jennifer McMahon. And to be honest, I don't know if it has a small town setting, but I did do my research on Goodreads and a few people did shove it as small town, so I count that as a win. Now, I don't know much about this. So it says, a woman returns to the old family home after her sister mysteriously drowns in its swimming pool, but she's not the pool's only victim. Oh, wow. That sounds very, intriguing to me. Very excited to be jumping into another Jennifer McMahon. I have read from this author before and enjoyed the stories, so very much looking forward to picking this one up. So the prompt I'm going to pair with the small town setting audiobook because I will be listening to this on Libby. I would recommend A Cozy Mystery, Brownies and Broomsticks. That is one of my besties' faves. I want to recommend Razorblade Tears for this one as well because I feel like it could be a small town. But again, I have not the best memory, so do with that what you will. Moving right along, our next prompt is Southern. The book I selected for the Southern prompt is The Between by Tananarive Due, and this one, it says that a man risks his soul and his sanity to save his family from malevolent forces in this brilliant novel of horror and the supernatural. I have not read from this author before, so this will be an interesting experience to see if, I want to explore more of their work. The prompt that I paired with my Southern setting is Diverse Rep because it is by an author of color. There we go. Got that one checked off as well. The immediate book recommendation that comes to mind is the Southern Book Club Guide for Slaying Vampires. Obviously, Southern's in the title. That one, that one's an easy one to recommend for sure. Another one that fits the Southern prompt is I Was a Teenage Slasher by Stephen Graham Jones. This one I personally didn't love or enjoy really, but it does fit the prompt. So if you have that on your radar, maybe you could pick it up. So the next setting that we have is a haunted house. So for the haunted house setting, I went ahead and selected The September House by Carissa Orlando. I'm just gonna give you like the first line of the synopsis. So this one is about a woman determined to stay in her dream home even after it becomes a haunted nightmare. Like, what? The prompt from section 2 that I'll be pairing with September House is Book You Didn't Buy because I was so kindly gifted this. Now, a few recommendations I have is Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. That one was really enjoyable. Another one I have is The Haunting of Ashburn House by Darcy Coates. That one I enjoyed and was pretty freaky. So pick those up if you've been interested because they're, I think, great picks. Next setting prompt is coastal. Now, it just means like near water, underwater, in water, who knows? Cassidy said, interpret these prompts as you will. Okay, thank you, ma'am. The book I selected for this prompt is From Below by Darcy Coates. This story follows a ship called the SS Arcadia that disappeared without a trace, and an emergency message that was incomprehensible was discovered, but none of the crew or the ship itself was ever found. A crew is sent to discover what happened to the ship and kind of film the process and try to uncover the reason for its wreck. And that sounds kind of terrifying because deep underwater sea scares me. There is a name for it. I'll put it on the screen. It just freaks me out. You don't know what's under the water. Thankfully, I have one of my besties reading along with me, so we can be terrified together. A prompt that I'm pairing with coastal from the second section is on someone else's TBR because I will be buddy reading this during spooky season. One of my favorite horror reads from last year, Our Wives Under the Sea. Fantastic horror wreck that also left me very unsettled. So another recommendation that I could give for coastal is The Guest List by Lucy Foley. I really liked it. So there you go. We're down to our last prompt for the setting section, and that is for a book in the woods. The book I selected for the In the Woods prompt is Clown in a Cornfield 3, The Church of Friendo. Thankfully, I did phone a friend to confirm this works, and she really came through for me. So thank you, bestie. I do believe our main character, Quinn, is kind of like on a path of revenge on this cult following of this clown named Friendo. and I'm here for it. I'm excited, and I can't wait to read this. This is a young adult novel, so that is the prompt from section 2. Gray After Dark by Noelle Ely could work. Or another book that I could recommend is Murder Road by Simone St. James. All right, so now that we got sections 1 and 2 covered, the third section is to find these specific prompts on the covers of your books. For the third section, you are able to kind of pick and choose from the books that you've chosen for section 1/2. However, I decided to pick a whole new selection of 8 books to cover each of these prompts because I'm delusional. But you know, these are all books that I have wanted to read for so long. So let's just jump into all the prompts that you'll need to find on the cover of your books. So the first prompt is hands. Hands on the cover. Hands any way you can get them, you know what I mean? The book I selected for the hands prompt on the cover is one that I don't own, but I own a special edition of it. So thank you, Cassidy, for looking the other way on that one. The book I selected for the hands prompt is Masters of Death. Now I'm going to show you the cover that I had in mind for it versus my cover. It has a regular set of hands and skeleton hands, so I think it fits. This book follows a real estate agent who is a vampire as she's trying to sell a mansion that is haunted. So the little blurb says, a ghost-infested mansion, a small group of supernatural beings, and an unlikely quest. And this one just sounds like a cozy, fun time, and I'm very much looking forward to it. The next prompt in the covers section is window. You might say is a stretch, and that's okay because it kind of is. And for this prompt, I selected Gothicana by Rue Nix. Now hear me out, okay? In the gate, there's a castle, right? If you look very closely, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Actually, okay. Those are windows, people. Those are windows, so I'm counting it. Gothicana by Rue Nix. Thank you so much. So this is basically like a dark romance, dark academia vibes, gothic. And I've been needing to read this honestly for so long, so I'm glad I'm finally gonna be getting the extra push to pick it up. So it says, an unusual girl, an enigmatic man, an ancient castle. What could go wrong? I don't know, but one of my besties absolutely loves it. This has gotten so much hype. It was indie published. Now it's published traditionally, and I'm just very excited to finally pick this one up. It's been on my radar. It's been on my radar for so long. Very, very much excited for this. Next up is finding a weapon on the cover. For this prompt, I selected a book that I have been wanting to read for so long. I already have my tabs sectioned out to, you know, make the reading experience easier. I should pick a book that I'm buddy reading in September, right? But in my brain, this is one I'm gonna hopefully pick up in October. So fingers crossed, right? Fingers crossed. For the prompt weapon on the cover, I did select Empire of the Vampire by Jerry Kristoff. Like, you see those tabs? I think myself and a friend or two were supposed to read this last year, and one of us did and 2 of us didn't. So hopefully this is the year. You know, this October, I'm getting good vibes, and I'm hoping. As you can see, he has a sword of some kind. This world is basically living in an eternal night of sorts. It says, for nearly 3 decades, vampires have waged war against humanity, building their eternal empire even as they tear down our own. Now, only a few tiny sparks of light endure in a sea of darkness. And I believe this character is kind of recounting his life story, and he's like the last of his kind, so this should be interesting. There are cool illustrations woven throughout. Like, I don't know if that's a spoiler because I didn't read it, but I'm praying October is the time to finally pick up Empire of the Vampire. So the book I selected for animal on the cover is Happy Medium by Sarah Adler. Now this does have a cute little goat, as you can see on the cover, and I'm so excited to finally be picking this one up because I've had my eye on it for a while. First of all, the cover is absolutely adorable. It's giving me small town cozy, and I'm just so ready to pick it up. And it definitely, you know, has a much lighter tone than the rest of these books that I've already shared. The story follows a con woman who basically has to convince a farmer that his property is haunted, and I can only imagine shenanigans ensue, maybe a little romance blossoms between them, and maybe some real ghosts are actually uncovered. The next cover prompt is Blood. The book I selected for Blood on the cover is A Certain Hunger by Chelsea G. Summers. I believe this one is more of a literary horror. A Certain Hunger introduces us to the food world's most charming psychopath and an exciting new voice in fiction. This one sounds like it's going to be an interesting time, and I'm very curious to see how Chelsea Summers brings the story to life. A few of the creators I follow have really enjoyed this one, so I'm excited to give it a try. The next cover prompt is a book with tech on the cover, and for this one I selected Good Girl Bad Blood, and as you can see there's definitely like some tablets or phones, and like, you know, headphones play a really big factor into it because these characters have a podcast. This is the second book in the Good Girl's Guide to Murder series. Pip Fitz Amobi isn't a detective anymore, but Little Kilton hides dark secrets and she's going to uncover them. So I know this is going to be a quick read. Holly Jackson's writing is very engaging and will keep me on the edge of my seat, so I'm very excited to be diving into this one. All right guys, we're near the end. We're near the end, I promise. The next cover prompt is Eyeball, and I took this literally. I selected a book from an author that I've really enjoyed before, and I've just been wanting to dive more into their work, so now's the time, okay? The book I selected for the eyeball prompt is Penance by Kanai Minato, and as you can tell, there's literally one eyeball on it, and that's kind of like the main focus of the book cover, so I think it fits perfectly. I will be listening to this one on Hoopla. I just can't wait. I just can't wait. This is a chilling Japanese psychological thriller that follows 4 women forever connected by one horrible day of their childhood. 15 years later, someone wants to make sure they never forget. I know the author is really able to pull out a shocking plot twist, so I'm very much looking forward to picking up Penance. The last cover... Hi. She's saying hi. She's the best girl. Fingers crossed Journey doesn't kick the tripod because she's right under it. The last cover prompt is Water on the cover. This one I selected The Deep by Nick Cutter. Really, in this book, a plague has kind of taken over the world and a cure of some sorts has been discovered in the Pacific Ocean where a lab is kind of set up as they cultivate this cure. However, the lab goes dark. A small group is sent to discover what is going on at the lab and to kind of discover what is actually going on. It does sound very creepy. This is gonna be my first book by Nick Cutter. I'm interested to see if this is one I enjoy because then I'll be more inclined to pick up more of his work. So those are all of the 16 books that I do plan on picking up. There's 6 bonus prompts that you can check off as you kind of go through all of the settings and cover prompts. Those challenges include a book with vampires, cults, cannibals, which I wasn't necessarily happy about, but it looks like one of the cover prompts will fit that bill, which is fun. Mixed media, ghosts, and serial killer. So I think I also check off every one of those. I'm very excited to see how this challenge works out. Like I said, they were already on my radar and ones that I've intended to pick up, and this challenge just is kind of giving me the extra push to do so. So thank you so much, Cassidy, for creating this fun little challenge for the reading community. Please let me know if you are also participating in this challenge. I'd love to hear about some of the books you have on your TBRs. Thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me today. If you made it to this point in the video and you want to let me know, feel free to leave a bat emoji for Masters of Death because there's a lot of little bat friends on the front of this one. Thank you again for all of your support. I hope you have a lovely day, afternoon, or night, whatever time of day you're watching, and I will see you soon in another video. Until next time.